Up and down and all around, everyone. It's Deep Dive Zone, the Sonic review series for fans of all shapes and sizes. I'm your host, Evan, joined as always by my co-hosts, Lauren and Bruce, and we are talking about more Archie Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
And I don't use the up and down and all around quote lightly, because this week's comics are a supremely mixed bag of things that I like, things that I hate, and things that I'm completely indifferent to.
It's definitely stuff.
I didn't really think it was that all over the place, but I guess let's talk.
I
I guess
mean,
that's the thing, is that they're kind of always a mixed bag, so...
I mean, yeah, that's been a problem that we've had for a few weeks now, really.
It's since the classic era, let's be honest.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think specifically this kind of mixed bag we've been getting, though.
Yeah, well, we're starting off here with Sonic the Hedgehog number 111, and ninjas.
Hey, we were
was
teased.
foretold.
We were teased ninjas. Knowing these comics, I still expected it not to happen.
I mean, typically they follow up eventually.
I mean, it's
But
yeah,
this is sooner
That's
than
the problem.
expected, though.
That's the problem. It's usually eventually.
I mean, it's not like they told you that you were gonna get something and then like ripped it out of your hands. But yeah, no, we're here. We're ninjas. We're reviewing Naruto now, guys. It's amazing.
Oh my god.
We're not doing that. That would be a nightmare to try and do, honestly. Anyway,
God, yeah.
so yes, ninjas and Amy and Robbo on the cover as well. Didn't expect, despite them being related, you don't really expect them to have stories get together.
Well,
I
to
mean,
be fair,
we've already seen it, so...
yeah, we have, but not a whole lot, to be fair.
I guess it's also that like the one story they did share, neither of them actually had much to do with.
Sure.
Well, but also, they made a point that they were related from the start with Robbo, so, like, I'm like, yeah, okay, that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yes, this is Kids of the Spider Woman, Ballers in Limb. Sally's premonition of spider ninjas attacking the castle comes true, and it's up to Sonic and friends to keep them from stealing the sword. Yes, we're still doing the hot potato game with the sword.
That's a thing.
It is a thing. I mean, the Sword of Acorn is a super powerful artifact for some reason.
Yeah.
So, of course people are going to be after it.
We have Amy and Ravo kind of bookending this issue, although I suppose not exactly bookending, because I think is there still a Gruckle story? No, there's a different one. But yeah, so they're arriving back, which is funny, right? Because Gruckle sent them back to Mercia, and then the first time we see them again after that is just them coming back to the village.
Well, to be fair, Robbo's taking Amy effectively home, because she doesn't live in Mercia.
I know, that's my point, is that why did he send them there if they were just going to go back to Noddle?
I mean, yeah, we should have seen some of Amy actually in Mercia, to be honest.
Or just not sent them there, but yeah.
Well, okay, yes, Amy should have been sent back to the Freedom Fighter special with Bunny and Antoine.
Yeah. Anyway, so they're still playing up this thing with the sword being, I was about to say possessive, and it literally is possessive, but...
It is, yeah.
It's weird, because they're like, Sally's something like, I don't want to use the sword, get rid of it. And then the sword is like, no, don't do that, you need me, and then she's like, oh, well, maybe I'll keep it around. So it's like, pick a lane.
I know.
Yeah, I don't get this.
So to me, I'm pretty sure it's just supposed to be the sword, like, still has some level of control over her, even when she's not using it. But what it really comes off as is just Sally being indecisive. Which, I mean, same girl, I'm indecisive as hell.
I didn't even think about that. You're probably right that it is just the sword controlling them. But that doesn't explain the other half of my question, which is why the king and queen are suddenly like, get rid of that sword. Like, normally, they're like, totally...
Because, here's the thing, they hadn't seen what it does to Sally before. I don't think they had, at least.
Well, here's the thing, she doesn't really tell them what it did. She says, the sword showed me to a vision, but also I hate the sword. And then they're just like, alright, fuck it, toss it in the trash.
What?
Well, yeah.
I don't know. I mean...
Again, I think it's just because they actually got to see what the sword does to her. They're like, well, shit, this is the only heir we have at the moment, so we can't really let the sword take her over.
I feel like they would be all for that. I still don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not convinced.
Well, I don't think they're doing it out of a sense of love or anything. I think they're just doing it out of a sense of, like pragmatism? Just like we can't lose another child. Yeah, we can't lose another child.
If there's still something
They're
If they're
being
still motivated
bastards.
by something other than Sally's well-being, then I will accept it, I guess.
Oh yeah, no, they're totally don't care about Sally's well-being. They're just in this to make sure there's someone to take over when they inevitably bite the dust.
Okay,
well, and part of this is
maybe
that
I'll take that.
it's all part of a plotline that was slightly abandoned. It's not completely abandoned because you still have some of this stuff with the sword. Last week we blew up Robotropolis with a nuke, and that evaporated the source, the golden pool of whatever crap.
That's right.
And one of Ballers's
Thank
not rejected plot lines, but the ones that he never really got to fully explore, was wanting to have a corrupted source of all that was slowly eating away at the Acorn family from the inside. And this is a remnant of that.
That sounds rad.
That sounds super interesting.
Oh yeah, no, I wish he had been able to do that. Everybody wishes that he had been able to do that.
That would have explained why the king and a queen are acting so fucking weird.
They were
I don't know if
I'd
go that
full
far.
in to the
to an extent.
Oh man, that fully embraces the whole everyone's acting like this is your destiny and you have to do it, but like everything points to don't do it. So that would be finally justifying it and like in universe.
Yeah, that would have been so much more interesting.
Well, I'm glad for that tidbit.
Thank you for telling me one more thing I will never get to see, Devin.
Production.
Speaking of things we don't get to see, Sonic is talking about like how Eggman couldn't be coming for the sword because he's toast, and I'm just like, really? Eggman toast? Like this guy has infinite bodies.
Yeah, if anything, Snively might be toast. I doubt he is.
That's true. Maybe Snively has no backup body. Oh no.
I'm sure Robotnik probably has some backup of him. That he can't go without.
He probably have his mind on a drive.
Exactly. He's got his mind on like a floppy disk or something. He's not gonna go without a lackey to torture.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
So yeah, we have guards dispersed all over the place in anticipation of the spider attack. Not that it matters because they get easily beaten.
Well, they're ninjas. I'm not surprised, to be honest.
I suppose
it's kind of what they do.
And yes, so Arachnus laid those eggs in that one issue, and now I don't know, a few days later, they've already become fully fledged.
I'm gonna be honest. I'd already forgotten about any eggs.
Okay, well, it's still weird.
I remembered it.
I'm glad one of us did.
They grow up so fast, you know.
Yeah, that is weird. And where did they get all their equipment?
I assume Arachnus just had a stockpile.
I can see that, actually.
She was probably, I don't know, planning something like this, since she was having children, clearly, to make a fucking army.
I like to imagine that she just had, like, a normal house. that just happened to have, like, ninja shit in it.
Yeah, it's her decor.
Oh, yeah, you keep the nunchucks mounted over the fireplace.
I mean, I have a sword over my bed.
That fits you. That's suitable. Yeah, so they bust into the castle, and they're beating the crap out of everybody. Sonic's hair makes him look like an octopus when he slides in here.
Yeah, once again, the quills looking really bad.
They're too long, as usual.
Yeah, I don't get that. Sonic's quills are not, like, fucking down to his feet, guys.
Yeah.
It's fine. And Sally has sort of a conflict here, where she doesn't really want to give into the sword's power, obviously. But Sonic is getting hit by so many nunchucks. There's just so much nunchuck in his face.
I mean, I don't know, man. He seems to be able to take it.
Well, in any case, Sally grabs the sword anyway. Then the other freedom fighters show up, and it's like she shoots one blast that doesn't even look like it hits, and then the others show up. So it seems completely pointless that she would even do that.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, it is kind of strange because she like is about to go all superpowers again, and then just decides, you know what? Actually, never mind.
Yeah, it's really weird. And the sword explains through Sally that the spider ninjas possess genetic memories from Arachnus, so they're trying to steal the sword because the last thing she was trying to do when she died was trying to steal it from Kodos. Like, what?
I
It's just how Mobian spiders work.
Damn, apparently. I didn't know Mobian spiders had genetic memories.
And hilariously, despite all that, Sally just decides, alright, screw it, and gives them the sword.
Yeah, exactly.
What the fuck? I don't get that.
It's such a random move.
It
It's
is.
again indicative of they're just hurrying up and shoving aside missing plot
Yeah,
threads.
well, yeah, it's clear they wanted to get like the sword out of the picture, at least for now.
But it's
I
weird
doubt
because
they could actually fully get it out of the picture, but
they
I'm
did
trying to
make a
remember.
huge deal out of it.
yeah, they
So
made such a
like
big deal out of it, and now it's like, oh shit, we don't want to play with this toy anymore, so we're just gonna get rid of this plot line.
these
Well,
comics love to draw things out and then just abruptly finish them.
Yeah,
yeah, I don't even know. I don't remember when the sword comes back into the picture, if I'm honest.
But it does. Interesting.
Well, I remember a point where it is relevant, but I don't know if it shows up before
Okay.
that. It's been a while.
It does at least show up again at some point.
But on the other hand, like, yes, you were correct that this is abrupt and that it's not really a big, exciting conclusion. On the other hand, I've been so fucking tired of writing about this stupid-ass piece of metal.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
no,
yeah,
I'm
no,
glad that it's over. It's just anticlimactic.
Yeah, well, and possibly
Again.
a bad decision, because we still have no idea who Arachnus actually was as a person, and I have no idea
I mean,
what her
she
kids
was
would
brought
actually be
back.
like. What they
She
were
was brought back out of the fucking zone of silence alongside Nagus.
and Kodos, which
And
doesn't paint a
Kodos.
great image.
Yeah, so I mean, the only thing I can assume is Arachnus was not a good person, and her children have genetic memories, which basically just, if I understand the concept of genetic memories correctly, would basically make them mentally clones of her.
Maybe, I don't know.
So
They never elaborate.
I know. I mean, I guess that's the problem with like, because stuff like Assassin's Creed uses genetic memories as just memories passed on from generation to generation. I don't think that's what this is going for, though. I think this is more going for, these are all just basically Arachnus. Yeah, it just seems like, oh yeah, let's just hand off one of the various ultimate MacGuffins we've grabbed to the bad guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, the sword is sentient and like it hasn't been usable by bad guys before. It
Well,
seems
no.
to kind
Remember,
of just not work.
Eggman was able to use it to free Chuck's will. Was no?
No, what happened there was that the king freed their free will, but Chuck pretended it didn't work.
Right. I don't. There's so much shit going on. It's hard to keep track sometimes.
We actually have no idea who can and can't invoke the sword's power. Now, Mogul.
That's true.
Oh,
Mogul has used
you're right.
it.
Mogul did
That's
use it.
right. Okay, I knew there was someone.
But that almost doesn't matter because that was before the current version of the sword.
Yeah, all
but
of this
before it was
is
sentient.
very,
So you can't
very
really use that as evidence.
not relevant.
Let's
Let's leave the irrelevance behind. Let's keep things momentum moving forward. Let's go with the second story in this issue, which is called "I'll Shoot the Sheriff," which is written by Ballas and drawn by Jay Axer. Hell yeah. Amy is happy to see Antoine reunited with his father, but Robbo the Hedge is still suspicious that the Robian could be dangerous.
Totally fair, to be honest.
I mean, he was the Robian we had to deal with for the longest time, so...
Right. No, that's totally fair.
Also, he just doesn't know about the sword restoring his free will, which another reason not to give it away, by the way, but...
Right.
Yeah, that's true. What if any Robian...
Yeah, that's actually a really good point.
Created again.
Well, not only that, like, Robotnik was using Robians elsewhere, not just in Robotropolis.
That's also true.
So there has to still be brainwashed Robians out there.
Oh my gosh.
Think about, like, Sandblast City. We never freed those guys.
That's true. Shit.
Yeah.
Right.
That's an actual example.
That's an interesting thought.
Anyway, that's not what this comic is actually about. This comic is about Rob being, like, prejudiced and like, suspicious.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't actually, like, give him any credit for this. Like, he could be suspicious, but then as soon as they explain, he should just drop it, but no.
I'll give him credit initially, and that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, he had to deal with this guy for a very long time.
Right.
Like, the fact
I'll
that
give
Armand,
him that much credit.
I finally learned Antoine's dad's name. It's Armand. But the fact that he, like, talks and is just like, no, I'm not a threat, should have been indicated that, like, oh.
Right, because before, basically, when we first saw him, did he actually say anything? I don't remember.
He did talk.
He did talk, but it was just, like, generic villain,
yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
when
it wasn't
restrained, they never took like the sneaky tactic. I don't think that they were even capable of that.
Right.
I will say though, I do like the middle 2 page of this story, because it's basically just a sequence of Armand hanging out doing whatever as Robbo is like stalking him for no reason. And then halfway through, the general is like, enough, you're being weird. Can we just like hang out or something?
Yeah, let's just hang out, bro. Yeah.
Yes, I could not agree more. We don't really know the general so well yet, but seeing that he does this, I immediately like him. Like,
yeah, we got to see a little bit of him being like, look, you instead of just like stalking me and spying on me, why don't you hang out with me and so I can prove that I'm free? And that's cool.
Yeah, and they're friends. It's just a funny little montage of them playing cards, telling campfire stories, practicing archery.
It's like Antoine's getting a hedgehog brother.
I don't know if I'd go that far. I'm not sure he and Bob they've barely exchanged maybe a couple words.
Yeah, that's about it.
And but sweet little thing. Rob leaves at the end, and that's all he got.
I'm half expecting to never see this man again.
It's gonna be a while, probably. I actually don't know.
Right.
He's not a super integral part of any run of the comics, I would say. So.
All right, cool.
I mean, that's all right. He got his happy end. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not complaining exactly. In terms of concluding things, this certainly does a better job for Rob and Armand than the first story did for the Sword.
Mm.
Yeah.
But, well, this is ominous. There's a third story here. It's not a Pender story, but it is called Trouble with Girls. With 3 R's. Ballers and Butler. When Sonic is swarmed by a crowd of female admirers, Tails asks why he always jets out when things get intimate. Oh god.
I think the writers have confused Sonic for Elias. This was Elias's thing, not Sonic's
It was.
I could believably see it happening to either of them, but you are correct that this is what we had Elias established as a thing.
Yeah, no,
I think the writers got rid of Elias, and then they're like, oh shoot.
Oh. Yeah, I can understand it. I don't like it.
No.
I think we would have seen this though before. Like we have Amy, and like we've seen this with no one else that I can think of.
That feels right.
Yeah. Amy, by the way, not a part of this crowd, which is funny.
That is ironic.
Yeah.
And I build this up as something ominous. It's not extremely bad. We start with Sonic, giving this persona an autograph, and that it's almost more like that whips up a mob of more people, and that's what does it. So maybe if Sonic just never signs autographs, that's why we never saw it before now.
Mm.
But Sonic's like, all right, I need to get out of here, and he hides, and Tails is like, man, Sonic, why do you hate women so much? No, he doesn't say that, but
Jesus.
But the entire rest of this is basically sort of like Sonic's philosophy when it comes to dating, which is guys, you need to understand. I run fast. I can't waste time with all this crap. Which I wish they'd hold you to that, man. But
Yeah, it's fucking.
Oh, you mean the writers?
Anyone.
Because I think that as an explanation of why Sonic never commits to any relationships, I would believe this. I think that Sonic being like,
he doesn't want to be held down.
Yeah, no matter, not that he really knows what that means, but whatever.
You're stating this like this is some new thing, but I feel like this has all but been said already.
Oh,
Sonic has said this before.
This is true for basically every version of Sonic, I would say.
Right.
Yeah.
My issue is just that it's a fine thing to say.
The writers don't hold to it.
Yeah, they keep using him for romantic drama crap anyway.
Right.
And it's weird putting it here right in the middle of said romantic drama.
Uh-huh.
Right.
I'm sure they literally just did it in order to break it, actually.
You want to
the challenge is set.
Yes, clearly.
But, could be worse, question mark? At least we're not actually having that in this issue.
No,
I do. I really hate this last panel in this story.
What, the I'd never have any time for my friends panel?
Yeah, and of course the only two there are Sally and Mina.
Get fucked,
I
Amy.
don't see any.
No, it's just a stupid.
Well, it feels
to me, it feels like more fucking relationship bait.
well, it feels dishonest.
Yeah, I just don't like it.
I could see Sonic saying it that way.
I can understand Sonic viewing them as just like, yeah, they're just my friends, but it coming from more so the editors than anything, or the editor than anything else, it just feels like, I don't know what the right word is.
It's like assuring the audience that, like, oh, they're just his friends, even though you're
right.
not going to do that at all. It's deceptive.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Of course, this whole story is deceptive from that standpoint.
Sure. Yeah.
That's certainly true.
But hey, at the very least, I turned to the next page, and Chadtoine.
Oh yes,
it's Sonic number 112.
Well, finally, we get like Antoine more than like 4 words in an entire issue.
This is one of the best covers in the series, just because I love Antoine, and this is a good issue too.
It is a good issue.
We'll get into that, but yeah, on its own, the cover is fabulous.
No, the cover's great,
and you've even got Chuck there, so it's like you've got the
even better
duo, the two best characters.
Yeah,
this could be the best issue ever made for all we know. Without reading
we'll just have to talk about it.
You're right. We have a Mistaken Identity Crisis, written by Benny Lee and drawn by Art Mawini. General DeCoulette is impressed by Sonic's heroism when an injured Sonic lands in Knothole, and Antoine feels a bit down about his own abilities. Sonic comes with an idea to show Antoine can be a real hero, but things don't exactly go according to plan.
Yeah, so I saw Sonic show up, and I was like, never mind. My hopes have gone to the floor again.
Yeah, same.
Oh, yeah, I saw this, and I thought, oh, this is gonna suck. And I don't think it does. I think it's okay, but...
no, it's fine. It's not bad. It's
a bad omen.
It certainly is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have Antoine and his dad just hanging out, and Sonic almost lands on them. But he's pretty banged up. And I want to note here, we haven't seen Art Mawini for a while, I think. It feels like it's been a while. Maybe
it has been a while.
Minor story or something. But this is the
It's
first
been a while since he's been on the major story, or the main story.
And what's really funny is that he's still drawing Knothole as a forest with the occasional straw-topped hut. Because I don't think he got the memo, it's turned into a big urban environment.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that. I thought this was just like an older area or something.
Maybe. Maybe this is just a less developed part of Knothole.
It's still exposed to the open air, but we've already complained enough about that.
Whatever.
Well, even the newer part is.
Yeah, they've expanded.
But hey, Eggman's gone. Why do they need to worry now?
True, Eggman is totally gone.
Anywho, Armand is like, oh, that Sonic sure is cool, and his dad must be very proud. And then Antoine's like, oh, right, I'm not as good.
Hmm.
And I do think that's good, because I think that we know that Antoine is capable of better than we've seen so far, but Armand has been gone so long that he hasn't had a chance to show him.
Yeah, I mean,
okay, I mean,
the way Antoine's grown as a character, his father, it might as well be like his father meeting a different person.
Yeah, because I mean, Antoine's been insecure about being the fuck up of the group for a while,
right?
So I think it mostly makes sense as a character turn.
Yes, this setup is fine. I agree, that makes sense.
Interesting that you phrase that like that, but all right. So Sonic takes Sonic to the hospital, and they're all like, "Oh, it's another version of me." Yeah, we know all that.
Yeah, we have to explain this all over again, of course.
Yeah, but Sonic notices that Antoine's feeling a bit down on this whole thing, and he's talking to Armand and all that, and so he gets an idea to make Antoine look cool in front of his dad. And I want to say, I do like that he gets Antoine in on it. Because
yes, I like that he gets Antoine in on it. I like that Sonic immediately realizes, nah, this ain't right. Antoine's dad should be praising Antoine.
Well, Sonic and Antoine being friends is just, they
it's
never
nice.
used to do that, and nowadays, well, Antoine's barely in the story, so it's good that they have that.
Antoine's barely in the story, but when he is, it's nice seeing him and Sonic like actually working together on something.
And together we'll lie to
Yes.
my dad.
Hell yeah.
So first of all, yes, that is great to see that we've come that far. It's very very cool to see that Sonic isn't a jerk to Antoine anymore. But this plan of deception, I can see the spirit in it, but neither of them are hesitant to do it. They just jump right into it, despite the fact that, as you said, like Antoine has actually done things, but I guess he really wants to prove himself right now.
He wants to directly prove himself to his dad, which I can sort of get that from a character standpoint.
Well, and the other thing is that like Sonic's like, oh, you head along with your dad, and I'll meet up with you in a second to, I assume, execute the plan. I have no idea what Sonic was planning because it's not what happens.
No, it isn't. It's just even better.
I don't think Antoine is told either because he doesn't seem I mean, he seems somewhat surprised, but like it seems like Sonic didn't tell him the specifics.
No, it seems like Sonic just expects him to be on his guard, and he'll know the moment when he sees it. That's the whole point.
I think that's the idea, probably to make it more natural, honestly.
Yeah, but it is weird. And, Sonic wakes up and he's like, oh, it's someone bad beat me up. It's one of... I think... I like that he says, I think he ought to know that one of his worst enemies is loose in this zone. One of his worst enemies? Are you sure?
I don't think it's one of his worst enemies. Also, interesting little... I don't know this is just our error or something. Sonic doesn't have green eyes.
I think that's on purpose.
I assume that's on purpose.
Our Sonic's
right. He's still the classic design, which makes sense. Makes sense for Sonic. I like that that it was actually remembered. Like, Sonic went through a bit of an actual transformation.
Not that Mawini knows how to draw modern Sonic anyway, because he doesn't.
No, he still looks like classic Sonic, just with longer quills and green eyes.
Still a neat touch, though.
Oh no, yeah, it's a cool touch that I'll admit I didn't actually notice on my first reading. I just noticing now looking at it.
So I guess the follow through on all this is what's going to be contentious with us. So we have Antoine with his dad spinning some tale about his heroism, as he was wont to do in the old days.
So why does Antoine have to lie to his dad? It feels like the writers are forgetting. Just tell him about anything cool you've done. You've done multiple really awesome things.
To me, it kind of feels like Antoine's maybe a little self-conscious. I think he clearly doesn't have, or at least for a while, he didn't have the best self-confidence.
I think the lies were always kind of a defense mechanism, and I think that this is them kind of calling back to that.
They're coming back because he's meeting his father for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, he's nervous about it. Now, I think that obviously within that, if he's asking you to talk about it, talk about that time that you went commando mode and blew stuff up with a grenade. But
yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the general asks, "What about the roboticized touch?" And Antoine stutters. Just tell him it was before that because that was kind of recent. Easy fix, just think.
That's true. It's like, oh yeah, he wasn't doing that yet.
Yeah. So as was foreshadowed too, fucking evil Sonic shows up. Haven't seen him in a while.
He shows up and just tries to mug them.
That's very on brand.
It is on brand, but it's so stupid.
That's why I love it.
He doesn't get to have master plans anymore. Instead, he's just some jerk.
He's just a criminal at this point.
This is the best thing that could have come of Sonic showing up. Honestly, I'm not mad now.
No, it's like two alternate Sonics that neither of which are particularly great on their own. It's kind of funny for them to both be here.
No, this is my favorite appearance of anti-Sonic in maybe ever, because he shows up and Antoine's like, "Oh, this must be Sonic's plan to make me look cool." And so Evil Sonic is trying to bug him, and he just instantly karate chops him. No hesitation.
Yeah, Evil Sonic's here trying to commit a petty crime, and Antoine's just like, "I'm gonna beat your ass."
He wins the day in one attack.
Okay, Evil Sonic would 100% be a fucking glass jaw.
Well, and
yeah.
This is important to me because it suggests that, the fact that he can even do that suggests that Antoine is way, way stronger and more impressive than he is. It's all in the mind, you know?
Yeah, he has low self-confidence. Yeah,
no,
he has too low self-confidence. He needs a little help, and this would be a good way to do that if he didn't think this was Sonic.
No, that is completely true. However,
there's gonna be a but.
Yeah, so
oh boy, all right.
He's like, oh great, huh? Took care of that. That was great. Aren't I so cool? Wait a second, and then Sonic shows up, and then he realizes that was actually Sonic, and then he faints, and everyone laughs at him. And so at the end of the day, it's just another joke at Antoine's expense.
I mean, I get that. I get that feeling. Yes. I feel like the laughing.
That is how it is presented.
I feel like the laughing.
The Antoine wins are accidental. I feel like this issue is written as nothing but a joke for Antoine. Like they play it all up like, oh, it's Antoine the Brave ? And like I half expected that it would just be a cool Antoine issue, but silly me. No, it's just an issue pretending like Antoine can be cool. Like, you could have easily, except for Sonic being nice to Antoine, had this way back in the early comics, and I would have totally believed it and not been surprised at all.
I understand that. That's fair.
I think we would have liked it better back then. I do get what you're saying, because if this had come as, like, earlier on, then it would have felt more like it was a spot of development, whereas here, Antoine has already done a bunch of cool shit, so having him do this feels like a regression. So I do see that complaint.
I get that. That is fair.
I would disagree that it's meant to make him a joke. I mean, I think you are hitting on something with that, to the extent that, like, if you say that that's why they're not talking about his actual achievements, and that's why he has to lie to his dad, then I can definitely see that reading, but I don't get that out of it, personally.
That is just how it feels. It's just like, he has, like, 2 seconds of cool here, and then it just ends. They just... you have to read between the lines to actually see any actual respect, except, I guess... Yeah, okay. The one thing I'll give is Sonic's respect. That's true. But otherwise, it's just it's just a.
It's a fair point.
The other thing is it's one of those. I'm sure there's a term for this plot line where it's really just shenanigans, and like they act like there's going to be a menace, but then there isn't actually a menace. This comic does that a lot. Yeah. Sort of a more lower stakes story. Yeah, and the fact that they decide to do that too also lessens the blow for sure. Although I will say that does fit Evil Sonic for sure. I like it for Evil Sonic's inclusion.
Yeah, it makes Evil Sonic more of a joke than Antoine, and that's fine.
Well, yeah, Evil Sonic being a joke is a-okay. Yeah. He's already a joke. Let's be honest.
Yeah. So yeah, I get it. Agree to disagree in this case, I think. Mm. And then we have, like, 7 pages of Penders just tracing other people's art, and then we have his NFT collection with some rip-off Hebrew text.
Yeah, why are there so many pages of this?
They need to fill pages.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess.
This next story wasn't long enough.
I did not read any of this shit. I hope that's okay.
I didn't either.
Oh, no, I didn't. We hadn't been going over them already, so I didn't.
Right.
Well, we do have one more story, which is called Forgiven. Ballers and Mawini again. Sonic brings the Robian wolf pack to Chuck's lab for a party as they prepare to head home. Oh my god, they're just going home again. We already had this. They don't do anything else in this comic. But the sins of the past are still weighing on Charles's back.
Perceived sins of the past.
Yes.
Yeah. I do find this to be kind of interesting.
No, yeah, I mean, it's a Chuck story.
Well, not just a Chuck story, it's an interesting kind of questioning, well, the man wasn't in control of his mind at the time. Was he really responsible? Obviously, no.
Yeah, so, okay, first of all, I guess Lupe and the rest were just in Robotropolis in issue 100.
Well, they were roboticized, so I'm not that surprised.
Well, it's very funny because, Penders had Lupe get roboticized, and then they literally built a grave for her, even though she obviously she was roboticized, not dead. And then Vala's just like, anyway, here she is.
Well, at the moment, as far as the characters are concerned, roboticization might as well be death.
Oh, no, it's not. Look, right there.
Well, okay.
So
At the time, they didn't know of any way to free their minds.
it had already happened before.
Yes, it had happened before, but
this comic starts the living proof of that example, which is Chuck, who has had his autonomy as a Robian the longest.
that's true.
Yeah, it's always on the table because of that.
Fair. That's
yeah.
true.
This is completely out of left field.
Yeah.
It again is indicative of, oh, wait a minute, the Wolfpack were roboticized. Better resolve that plot line too, because I actually liked that story. I thought it was cool that they had like a, a downer ending almost, but then they did nothing good with it, and then here they just remembered, oh wait, that's a thing now, and then they decided to just use it for more Chuck guilty drama, which I'm tired of.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
I think, yeah, that's a very, very fair criticism. I don't have a lot of love for all of that stuff that we've already seen. I think that it's fair to say that the reversal of the decision to roboticize them is pretty anticlimactic, just in that these comics introduce these resolutions to things that it doesn't feel like they've done anything major with, because we didn't see anything about the Wolfpack between then and now. We didn't even see anything where their absence was of particular note.
Sure.
On the other hand, Penders clearly wanted to kill them off permanently, and I don't know if I want that.
No, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I don't know what the purpose of that would have been.
Well, it's just that Penders thinks that if you kill off characters, that makes it a good story. That's literally what it is.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I don't know. I guess I like the scene between Lupe and Chuck where she's like, "Don't be fucking stupid, dude. Nobody blames you. Nobody has ever blamed Chuck for all this."
No,
that's
everyone
why
understands.
I don't like the scene, because Chuck, someone needs to talk to him about not just feeling guilty about this thing or that thing, but it's a problem of his that hasn't been addressed, at least yet. Maybe it will later, and then I'll be happy. Where he just even like this, I can understand creating the roboticizer that enslaves the world, but this thing is so minor compared to that. I think,
yeah,
is he feels guilty about everything he ever did when he was roboticized? I guess.
He's not feeling roboticizer guilt. He's feeling specifically roboticizing the Wolfpack while he wasn't in control of his body guilt.
Yeah, that's even more removed than the first one.
I feel like it's an extension of the roboticizer guilty.
I mean, it is, but it's like it's the same deal with what we had with Jules and Bernie, where they treated it as a reveal that Jules was the one who roboticized it, but he was a robot. Who cares?
Right, exactly.
So it's I guess I just like to see the characters get along and be nice to each other. That's I think all that really is why I liked any part of this. So this is a Lauren is right moment, I think.
Yeah.
You can like it. That's fine. I won't stop you. But
okay.
It was a disappointment for me of a Chuck story.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what it is for me is just I appreciate when these stories are actually kind of wholesome.
It's schmaltzy, yeah.
So often these like drama after drama after drama after drama.
Yeah, like either miserable or cynical.
Right.
Even
when we're just getting a nice
we were complaining about the fact that it pulls its punch and is like, actually we're gonna keep Antoine, we're gonna make a joke about it. They don't do that.
No, I can.
Yeah.
I like the fact that this is just a nice wholesome story.
Well, we see the Wolfpack there, but look, we're not done with the Wolfpack yet. It's Sonic number 113, and we've got a whole recap about the Wolfpack. I'm sure this won't be the most awesomely bad issue of the series.
We've kind of already reviewed this, if you think about it.
Sort of. This is an awesome cover, I can say that.
It's a nice cover. We've got
a nice cover
in the title page. Look at that disgusting Robotnik. He's great.
I love it. Yeah, and then you turn the page and then unfinished. This is the first draft.
Yes, this is Cry of the Wolf, written by air quotes Jay Oliveros and art by many hands. And yes, it is an adaptation in massive air quotes Well, actually, no. It is an adaptation.
It
I can't
is.
deny that. But it is an adaptation of the Sad AM episode featuring Sonic, Sally, Antoine, and their encounter with the Wolf Pack. Oh, God.
Man, does this feel out of place at this point.
It is a weird thing to place here, but it is so unfinished that you can clearly tell they just did it because they had absolutely nothing else they could put here.
Yeah, it's out of place no matter where it goes. Like, I had heard about this issue.
I remember
You
Devin
mentioned
bringing
it
it up
before,
to me.
yeah.
I showed this issue to you and your dad years ago, and your dad was like, "That looks completely unfinished. What's up with that?"
I have vague recollections, but going into it, I'm like, wow, show this to anyone. Like, it's just take any page, other than the cover page and the inside cover, but within the story itself, here and it's baffling. Yeah, I guess it's just a first draft. That explains it, I suppose.
It really feels like this is the first draft. This feels like something that shouldn't have left the editor's desk and not cost does this have the price on it? Damn it doesn't. Like $2 I think is what these issues normally cost right at the moment.
The thing is, I can't call this a first draft because I don't think they ever intended to do a second draft.
No, but it looks like a first draft. That's the thing.
It looks like a first art pass of a new artist that you hired when they were 14 maybe, and even that's generous.
I mean, I've seen some artists that were pretty good at 14.
Well, so like Super Special 15, this is one of the few Archie issues to never get reprinted, and no shit why. It's utterly extremely ugly. It's uglier than a lot of Nagas games was, the other Many Hands one, because that story started out looking okay, and then you had all of the pages of nothing, and then it looked like crap. This looks like crap the whole way through. I'm not so sure there's a single good drawing in here.
It is. It's right at the beginning with those stuff that wasn't done by Many Hands.
Okay,
right.
Well, obviously the cover and Axer page are fine.
Yeah, no, I would say that this is significantly worse than the Nagas issue.
Yeah, it is.
Even at its worst. It's not even just the line art either. The coloring is strange.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff with default Photoshop brushes, and what color the outlines are keeps changing.
Mm-hmm.
Do we even talk about the story? I don't think I have any writing about this because we already talked about the Sad AM episode, and they only make really minor changes to kind of divorce it from the Doomsday Project.
I have only a couple things to say about it, to be honest. I mean, a lot after all of our characters have had some level of characterization. Going back to the classic style of writing feels like a massive downgrade.
Yeah, I can see that.
And also, I'll admit I forgot to watch the episode. I meant to.
I didn't.
Was this just well? I wanted to because I was curious if this was just a mediocre written episode because I remember Sad AM being fairly well written, but this comic is really badly written, or at least it feels badly written, and maybe that's more just coming off of we've gotten at least some level of characterization from all these characters, or not characterization, some level of growth from all these characters in the last 112 issues plus more. That it feels wrong.
I think what it is that you're correct that the writing style has changed a lot since then. Right. And it's if we want to talk about, taking Antoine down a peg, boy howdy, just look at any episode of Sad AM.
Right.
But it's also that Cry of the Wolf was never really the main character's episode in the first place.
No, it was about the Wolf Pack at the end of the day.
And the thing is, the Wolf Pack in Sad AM is basically just Lupe and her background friends.
Right. Yeah, right. In the comics, the Wolf Pack has a lot more.
I don't know if I'd say that. I don't know if I'd go that far. They have names, and they have
names.
Designs,
okay.
But...
I would say they have more.
I would say
more, even if it's not a whole lot.
Maybe a better way to put it is more of them have personalities. Not all of them, but there's at least a solid few more.
You could at least write a short paragraph about each, maybe. Which
I
I
could
think you
probably
could do
write
that with like one in Sat AM.
I could probably write a solid like 2 or 3 sentences and about a paragraph for Lupe. But if we're talking just Sat AM, yeah, no, I could literally only do that for Lupe.
The thing for me about this story is that, yeah, so it's advertised on the cover as like, oh, see how they first met. And so I was like, okay, it'll have bad art, but let's see how it gets integrated. It doesn't get integrated. It just jumps into the
Yeah.
middle when they're already in the mountain.
Right, they could have at least started at the beginning of the episode because I think they do talk about the setup at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
That would have been the really important part of this, because I here am like, well, if there's one thing I want to get out of this, it's how the wolf pack fit into Archie Sonic. Because if you will recall, confoundingly, when Lupe first showed up, it was the episode was referenced, and it was like, what
Right,
the heck? Is the show canon to the comic? That's literally
right.
impossible. So I'm like, okay, how did this happen? There isn't really any better explanation given here. It's just, oh, I guess this happened at some point, and I guess Robotnik was just creating a doomsday pod, but there's no doomsday project.
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
the one.
Right.
The question I keep asking myself is, would I think this was as... Would I be able to almost think that it was similar or closer in quality to looking like the Sat AM episode if it wasn't butt fucking ugly? And, you know,
I don't.
one of Adam Bryce Thomas, you know, big artist on the current run of IDW and, you know, the late runs of Archie. One of the ways that he got hired by Archie during the reboot was that he redrew this entire issue.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
And I don't think he colored it. I don't think he lettered it. But, you know, I wish that I could read a finished version of that so we could compare directly. It's like
I don't know. I still don't. I don't think better art would make this a better issue.
Well,
I think
this is the thing: is that taking the episode out of its original context weakens it a lot. Because I think that Sat AM is a show that only works holistically to some extent. Like, maybe there's a couple episodes you can watch on their own, but as a whole, it comes across way more mediocre when you're not looking at it as an ongoing thing.
100%. I said as much when we watched through Sat AM that each part of it isn't so great, but it's a fun journey to go through, and there's there are little bits of progression overall.
Sure.
And so I feel satisfied having watched through the whole thing. But yeah, I mean, Sat AM. I actually think the writing really isn't super insanely. I mean, it is fairly simplistic. It's just, I don't know. It has cool original characters.
Right.
It has stakes. I mean, I guess the comic still has stakes.
You know, there's things that differentiate that even if the script is like just okay, can elevate it. You know, Sat AM has the best animation of the old cartoons. I would say that it has some of the best performances. I guess you can't beat Long John Baldry, but so taking the script out of context and giving it the worst visuals in the entire series, it weakens it. And that's the thing, is that because of that, because it is just an adaptation, this comic is only its terrible artwork. It's only Sonic's broken arm with his nose bulging out of the panel, and Sally holding Nicole upside down, and Snively's face melting.
I actually kind of like that. Like, I don't mind the Snively and Robotnik pages because of the golden rule of I don't care if they get screwed up. The Robotnik face that's huge and yelling at Snively, that's my favorite frame in the whole.
No, that story. Legitimately, like that still tracks as Robotnik.
Yeah. But it is bad art. That's true.
Yeah.
Right.
The last page of this story contains the only Archie appearance of Ari the Ram.
Which is funny because early on I was expecting him to show up for some reason.
He does show up in other
these comics
episodes.
Lift a lot from Sat AM, but
not this
right.
one.
Yeah, I know hilarious. He's in other episodes of Sat AM, but this is the only episode directly adapted.
Hilariously, though, he's colored so incorrectly that he doesn't even look like a ram anymore.
He looks like he has the top half of a beak.
Yeah, they paint his nose bright yellow and his skin like gray-green.
Clearly, someone had never watched Sat AM.
He looks like some kind of dinosaur.
This is funny, because up until this point, I could be like, I guess this could have technically happened. But when you end it on this scene, they didn't omit this scene, which is puzzling, because this actually, instead of technically answering and then closing all our questions, this it creates new questions.
It does.
It's like, wait a second. So at some point, the freedom fighters wanted to make an alliance with these other groups that we've never seen before, and probably never will again.
The only other freedom fighting group that we really saw that participated in taking out Robotnik in Endgame were the Wolfpack.
Yeah, so no idea who these guys are.
Yeah, the other 3 freedom fighting groups here clearly don't fucking matter. Honestly, I don't know why this entire issue matters. This issue could just be deleted from existence and we wouldn't lose anything other than the crappy art.
Yeah. So fuck that. I don't know if Eliveras is Justin Gabri. I don't know if Many Hands is one person or a bunch of people. Delay your comics if you don't have anything to print, guys. Don't just shit out stuff like this.
And then don't get paid?
Yes. Yes, do it for me. I want you to not get paid. I want you to
If you're gonna shit this out, you don't deserve
I feel like
to get paid.
This has to be... Well, I mean, I'd have to go into the background. But I'm inclined to believe that the system is to blame here. That it encouraged this.
So I mean... this issue makes me wonder if this was a leftover of an idea from years ago, or from years before when it came out.
No, I think it's just they were rushing to meet a deadline.
Well, no, but I know, but I think it's an idea of let's adapt certain Sat AM episodes.
But here's the thing: the other time that they did that was Ghost Busted, and that was another story that looked just like this. And I think it's because when you run out of time, you say, okay, well, what could we possibly do? Oh, here's an old script, just put it in there.
Right? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Well, we probably have nowhere to go but up from here. Let's look at Sonic the Hedgehog number 114, and wow, look at this cover.
It's one of the worst Star Wars movies.
I'm sorry, but I have to love this cover. This is just fabulous. Like...
I mean, the cover doesn't look bad.
No, it's drawn well, and it's just silly, and I love it. See, the thing is, when these comics are just being dumb and like doing parody and like it's now we're just doing pointless stories, whatever. But when you just have a little reference like this, I'm just gonna laugh, and plus it's drawn completely seriously too.
Sure.
And so
well, and also
I have to love it.
It doesn't really have anything to do with the issue. Let's be honest.
It doesn't harm anything.
Right.
Well, and this is the biggest thing for me is that this is so contemporary because Sonic is a reference to Star Wars all the damn time. Look at the Death Egg, but to specifically see an Attack of the Clones reference, you can only get that in 2002. You know.
That's true.
Yeah. No, that's true.
And it's not even like Attack of the Clones is a bad movie poster. It's just a bad movie.
Full stop.
Yeah. that was what it is.
I also have to say I am I am hyped to see Mogul's glorious return.
Yeah, man, it feels like I don't get why Mogul hasn't been around.
Yeah, he was teased in Sonic Adventure, and then he just didn't show up for months.
Because Mogul, I feel like, was being built up alongside Naugus as like the next 2 big bads, and then they basically did nothing with both of them.
Yeah, we've said this before, and so
I don't want to go more into it, but
I feel like there's potential there. I will have to say also I'm more partial to Mogul than Naugus personally.
Oh yeah, so am I. Naugus has been super underwhelming every time we've seen him. Mogul at least made the art in one issue melt.
What an accomplishment.
He's hammier than Naugus is part of it.
He is, yeah. Mogul's a lot more entertaining to read. Naugus is just boring, which is dumb because he shouldn't be.
Well, Naugus has a more intriguing backstory.
He does, but his character is just super underwhelming.
Yeah.
We also got Tails trapped in a bubble for our Axer art.
Which,
I think I know what we're doing with this.
Yeah, we're finally,
This is Twice Told Tales, written by Benny Lee and drawn by Ron Lim. Tails is plagued by nightmares of a mysterious cave and an ominous presence. It's up to him and Sonic to unmask the true villain, and possibly the true Tails.
Ooh, ominous.
Wow.
And I'll say this, last comic's art was bad, and Ron Lim, I'm not going to call him worse, but this is like some of the skungliest that he has drawn the characters so far. Sonic has full-on, like,
monitor eyes
with the extremely long quills and the spindly limbs. Tails has a really big nose in this issue, and weird body shapes with a neck.
Yeah, Tails is looking, like, extra scrungly.
I'm so desensitized.
I mean, that's fair.
These comics artwork. It has to be really bad for me to even take note.
That is a fair point. That is definitely a fair point. It's hard to top the last issue, I think, is a big thing.
No, like I can at least tell that this is supposed to look like this, even if I don't want it to.
Right. Yeah. I think that's the big one.
Anyway, so Tails been having bad dreams. He can't sleep. There was about a cave with glowing red eyes. Parents try to reassure them. Sonic tries to reassure him, but it doesn't work.
Damn.
So he's gonna fly off in the tornado in the middle of the night to find this mysterious cave with Sonic in tow.
I will say, Sonic tries to reassure him, but then falls asleep instantly, which I'm not sure if that's just a joke. It probably is, but Sonic doesn't seem. I mean, he does everything fast, so I guess he falls to sleep fast. It seems a little bit like he's not taking Tails seriously.
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, the most common element of Tails' characters in this comic is that he's a kid and they don't they treat him like
they
a kid.
They don't take him very seriously.
And he always ends up being right.
Right. Well, so I wasn't sure if that was what was going on here because I feel like we'd moved past that. But
well, and it's not like Tails calls
don't
it
you
out.
Wish?
It's not like it's treated as a real conflict. So
yeah, true.
Yeah.
And I mean, Sonic is willing to follow him to the cave. He's not just like, oh, he's spinning dirt. It doesn't matter. I don't think that's.
I mean, I could see that even way back, honestly.
Yeah. But they go in the mysterious cave, and look at that. It's Turbo Tails in a bubble.
Oh, boy.
Here we are. Yep.
Oh, boy.
So, as we established, Penders several weeks ago threw out this random plot point that the Tails we've had for a little while now is a doppelganger. And you're like, really? What's up with that? And Penders was like,
wouldn't you like to know?
Yeah, he doesn't say anything. And so our friend Benny here is gonna pick it up.
So here's the thing about that. I know it was months, but I've seen longer between Penders picking up plot points before. So why was Penders not allowed to follow up this plot point? Did he just say, I don't feel like calling it up, actually? Yeah, sure, anyone else can do that. Like, it's bizarre.
It's entirely possible he didn't care enough.
Well, why did he bring it in then?
Well, you can't.
That implies to me that he cared.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a good answer.
I honestly would have guessed that this was just the intention. I don't know. Anyway.
I suspect that Benny asked Ken, what he was going to do with this, and Penders was probably like, oh, I was going to have Mogul do it, and then he's like, all right, I'm going to write that issue.
I'll write that.
Okay, I will believe that completely. Yes.
Because it's definitely something Penders could do where he's like, I don't want to write this, you do it.
Sure.
Yeah, I could see that. Because if I wasn't paying attention to the writers, I would have just believed this was a follow-up. It doesn't feel... Sure. I mean... It is a little strange, but it doesn't feel like it isn't the follow-up.
Yeah, and as I said, Mogul did it. He's here looking a little crusty under the limbs pencil. His ears especially look like somebody tore into them.
I mean, he is ancient.
It fits.
Yeah.
He explains that he broke out of the Master Emerald after the whole Chaos thing. And he also puts this in hilariously. I was so wanting to mention this when we did the original Fake Tails bit, but he explains that he made the Fake Tails while he stole the real Turbo Tails from his encounter with Gruckles. So when we saw, Athair and Merlin be like, hey, this isn't our Tails, it was literal seconds after he'd been replaced.
And...
Oh... I didn't know that. I did not understand that from this explanation.
Yeah, A, I did not understand that from this explanation either, and B, that's really stupid.
Yeah, because you can
This
see that the editor's note says that Aether took him in issue 94, and that's where it all
Mm-hmm.
happens. Um,
okay.
And
Yeah, I assumed that he'd been a duplicate for a while.
yeah,
That
I was thinking like, oh, this has been a duplicate Tails. I was starting to think like, oh shit, does this even go back to like the initial Mogul fight, like way back?
yeah, I could have seen that. But that just makes this even more maddening because that is exactly what this explanation is. Okay, so why are there two tails? All right. So, because Mogul is like gonna dissolve unless he does something. And so you know what you do when you're gonna dissolve into Chaos Emerald magic? You duplicate someone with all that power you don't have, and then
You
it gives you
know,
power. It's like breaking the bonds in an atom, I guess, splitting it in half. That half maybe makes sense. Okay, but then no. It gives you energy by you giving it energy because it says that he feeds Turbo Tails, and that helps him by helping Turbo Tails.
I,
Okay, yeah. Usually when there's gobbledygook explanations, like overall at a high level, it makes sense. It's just the details that don't make any sense. None of this makes sense.
it really doesn't.
yeah, because you say feeds, but you mean feeds him energy. Like if if it was that Turbo Tails, as long as he's alive, is giving off a stream of energy that he's feeding off of, and the fake Tails didn't take as much energy to produce, with whatever power he had left, I would believe that. But no, he has to transmit energy to him so that he gets energy from him to help him stay corporeal?
Apparently, yeah, because that works because
Well, and also you escaped from the Master Emerald, which you were sealed inside, but Chaos Emeralds are what gives you your power, and there was a whole bunch of Chaos Emeralds. Like, you came out of the Master Emerald. Can you not just take the Master Emerald and have that be your energy source?
well, yes, that would be the obvious solution. I don't understand why Mogul is even like collapsing here
Yeah,
because he was infused with the emeralds and that never changed. He just got
Right,
surrounded by emeralds. You can even see
right,
he still has at least one Chaos Emerald
yeah,
inside of
it's the
his
one in his
chest.
chest. Yeah,
right.
So he should be hunky dory. They don't. That's another thing. They don't explain why he's collapsing. They just say he is because.
yeah. It's like, does his regular
Yeah,
body not count anymore? I don't know.
Like he's
I
he's he's been doing this gig for millennia, so he should be able to keep going.
Yeah. So they fight, and it's really weird, and across a total of, I don't know, like 5 panels, we have Fake Tails reckoning with not being the real one.
Sort of, a little bit, yeah.
Well, it's like he looks at real Tails and it's like, oh, I'm not really me, but my memories are so real. And then they continue fighting Mogul that it feels completely unrelated to it. And then when they defeat him, it's after that he's like, oh, I'm just a phony. And Sonic's like, no, you're my friend. I love you. And then he just disappears.
He just dies, yeah,
yeah,
just like
and
that.
I feel like Sonic should still be a little traumatized by that.
Yeah, because Real Tails wakes up, and Sonic is like, "Oh, it's my friend. We did it." And it's like, "Are you not messed up at all over what just happened?"
Or if the tales
Apparently
you've been
not.
spending the last who knows how long with, because
Like
we
a
don't know
couple
how.
months at most is
Yeah, we
part, but
don't. Well, we don't know how much time has passed. But yeah, let's say like maybe 3 months at the most. He still lives with Tails, or Tails still lives with Sonic. So
it's like if I found out that you were an alternate Bruce, for the past 4 episodes, let's say, and then you died, um, it would be like, yeah, that would mess me up. Like
right,
maybe not as much as if the real you died, but I still wouldn't want it to happen.
sure. No, that's, and I just don't get why Sonic can just be like, all right, cool, and then be like, all right, well, here's the real Tails. He doesn't remember any of this shit that we just went through over the last however many
Well, it's like, what the
months.
hell is this story trying to say?
I fucking
It's just trying. See, It does come off as, oh, we're just resolving this plot line now. I will definitely say that's true, even though it hasn't
Sure.
really been that long.
No, it hasn't.
Because logically, Sonic should just be like, wow, what a jerk. Mogul, I'll find you. Because Mogul literally says, you may win this round, but I'll be back. Wah. So Sonic should just be like, Mogul, bring him back. Bring back the other Tails. Like, but no, he's just like, oh, no, Tails is totally fine. It's all good. Everything's good.
And I feel like also maybe a way to get around this is have the two Tails merge.
Oh yeah, just have one.
Ultimately, yeah, they could have done that because
yeah, so
he was split in
Tails
half to start with. That's
exactly,
usually the way you end this
exactly.
sort of thing.
So the real Tails, or maybe what they could have done is like the Tails in there is just Turbo Tails. It's like a separate entity somehow. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then like they remerge together, and so Tails gets to keep the memories of the last few months that he's made with Sonic.
Yeah.
I don't.
This
fucking
Tails
know.
doesn't know that Robotropolis fucking exploded.
That's true. That's fucking true.
Yeah, it's like dragon abuse, kind of, in that they have this, they want to end on the serious note, but then not actually address it in any meaningful way.
Yeah.
Very, very, very weird comic.
It
But hey,
really is a weird comic.
We've gone without any gruckles this episode, so now we need to gruck all over the place.
I'd really rather not.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be
no,
honest.
we don't.
Yeah, can we just not get any gruckles this episode? That'd be really nice.
You know, back when we had like Knuckles stories that were on their own, we should just split up these comics.
We really should.
Put the Knuckles comics.
I feel like they'd go.
That's what Pedros would have wanted anyway.
Well, you know what? I feel like these stories would go a lot faster. Also, instead of like, we're bumble around for 10 pages.
Yeah, well, we don't live in that world. I'm sorry.
Plus, it would also give the Sonic stories more stretching room.
We don't live in that world. I am sorry.
No, it would be cool to do a fan edit of that though.
That would actually be interesting.
Yeah.
Well, food for thought. For right now, Ultimate Power Part 1, Penders and Best. The tension is rising on Angel Island. As Echidnopolis is trying to make peace with the Dark Legion, Dimitri is dying, leaving Leon Da as his successor, which may doom everything.
God. I guess his blood sugar got too high.
Okay, yeah, that was my only thought, because I was like, wait, Dimitri is dying?
I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought of that.
Like,
why the fuck is Dimitri dying? Is he like going into a diabetic coma?
I guess that was their idea of foreshadowing, so that's probably true.
Don't get it. It's so...
All that Leon Da says is that your cybernetics are not working to keep you alive for much longer, so it could be anything.
It's really stupid.
Julie Sue and her family get a free house, I guess.
Good for them, they're...
Which is hilarious, because remember who has been asking for housing for like 100 comics at this point on Angel Island?
No, don't worry about it. They're not important.
They kind of are important, actually.
Well, one of them is actually
one of them will be important. Yeah, no.
Well, one of them keeps being strangely important, and I still don't get it. Just let him rest.
Knuckles even offers to get their rent paid for them. So it's like
Knuckles is just abusing his privileges as guardian.
Well, I don't like that. The segregation aspect of it is becoming really weird. There's no dingoes at all.
It's been weird for a long time.
There's one dingo, and it's the only one that is actually. It's the only one that's actually even remotely important.
Yeah.
Well, at the moment.
So Gruckles basically thinks that because Dimitri is dying and because they're talking to the council, the Dark Legion is just gonna fizzle out, I guess.
And I don't. Why? Why would it?
Wishful thinking.
The Dark Legion is they're fanatical.
Well, I mean, maybe he thinks that the Dark Legion is only Dimitri, but obviously that's wrong, because Dimitri wasn't here for the many, many years of their existence. So.
Right. Well, they were also stuck in the fucking hyper zone. Yeah. I don't remember what it was called, and I don't really care.
I guess Dimitri is just too old, I guess, is probably what they're going with why he's dying.
Ah, he's ancient.
I think of it kind of like the homunculus philosopher's stones in Full Alchemist, where they aren't infinite; they just have a lot of life.
Sure, fair enough.
But
Well, I mean, he hasn't been a cyborg for very long. I think.
Yeah, he was already. I mean, after
I guess
after he wasn't
was keeping him alive the longest.
Yeah. The fact that he was all powerful chaos god was probably keeping him alive. And now that he's stuck with just cyberware. Shit, that shit's still computers. It'll break.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's an interesting exchange here between Lianda and Dimitri. Lianda is like, "Oh, yeah, you better be taking your situation seriously. I'm not so sure that your plan that isn't elaborated on a whole lot, but it involves Gruckles because, of course, it involves Gruckles.
Of course.
I don't know that's gonna work." And then Dimitri is like, "Don't be treacherous, my dear. Follow my lead." So he knows full well that you can't quite trust her.
Right.
So I'm just making a note of this because I'm very curious to see where this goes between the two, because the idea is going to be they say it 2 pages after this that if Dimitri dies, Liandad takes over, and that's bad news. And so I am going to be wondering here. I'm going to be looking for every little possible hint as to whether she's really trying to keep Dimitri alive or not.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny just because he's clearly okay with like entrusting his legacy to Leonda when he does die. He just doesn't want her to fuck around without his permission. So it's like, can you just wait a second, girl?
Right.
So yeah, definitely observing whatever she does, and clearly, you know, with the way that they frame this panel of her looking at him and slowly being like, "Oh, I promise," it's definitely setting her up as trying to usurp him.
Right.
These little things are what I actually legitimately get into with these.
That is, yeah. I mean, that's
Knuckles comics are the
that's actually kind of interesting.
The echidna politics when it's not, you know, debating about whether technology is good, but you're talking to like a terrorist.
When it's hey, I want to kill you, then it's interesting.
yeah. So I got to give them credit for this.
Yeah. Anywho, everyone's favorite character, Harry, gives Mogul, who is here, a ride.
So is this
I
taking
was
place,
not expecting that.
Is this after the Sonic story?
It is after, but I thought he just lost his corporeal form. What is he doing alive again?
He did that on purpose. It's obvious.
Yeah, he just ran away and said.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, he just ran off because, like, oh well, a hedgehog and fox are stronger than mammoth.
He pays Harry with a gold orb.
Yeah, well, so that's easily explained. Mogul has been around for a long time. He probably carries around bits of gold. I would not be at all surprised.
Yes.
I am kind of surprised though to see Mogul back in the Gruckles comics, because that's a bit of a throwback. Every time I see characters travel from one comic to another, even though this is actually in the same comic technically, it sort of doesn't feel like it though. It surprises me.
Yeah. So it gives him a ride, and then the last page is just all the Gruckles and Chaotix hanging out, which I guess hasn't happened in a while, but it's not like it goes any different than you expect. It's Vector being a prick to Julie Sue, and then he gets hit, and that's it.
Yeah.
No, the Chaotix are total background, which they had some issues, I guess, but it's been a long time.
It has.
We will never hit the highs of the drug arc again.
Hey, at least they were fucking important.
Charmy was.
Charmy
was. Most of the others just kind of stood around or tripped out. So.
I mean, that's about as important as we can expect from them, I think.
Yeah. Or one more story in this issue. I agree with whoever said that the 3 story issues are a bit much. Because it's easier to summarize one at a time.
Well, and it also ends up just making all the stories feel unnecessarily short.
Yeah, they're crowded. This is Young at Heart, Ballers and Axer. Amy and Tails connect over their shared frustration at being made to attend school when Sonic and the other freedom fighters are allowed to leave in times of trouble. And I agree, that is a double standard.
also like that wasn't what was established. That's just a thing now, apparently.
That's just a thing now, and also, but yeah, that's true.
I guess that's the new rule now that Elias is gone. Is Sonic just not banished anymore, or not grounded?
I don't think the king cares.
I assumed. That's probably it. Actually, the king probably just stopped caring.
He's like, whatever, Sonic, just go do it. Do what you're gonna do.
I'm gonna have to look more closely because the king just laid off of Sally recently too. I'm wondering if he's like actually just down because Elias left. That's possible. That could explain that.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, Amy's angry. Is like, why school? It's the editors. That's why.
Well, Sonic blames Jeffrey, which is also true.
That's also true. Fuck that squunk. Yeah, sure, squunk.
Borrowed observation, by the way. Sonic says, Jeffrey St. John, a very close personal friend of Princess Sally. And Sally corrects him in the next panel and says, and Jeffrey is my father's close personal friend, by the way. Which is very funny. She's like, don't dump that fucker on me.
Yeah, don't associate me with that bastard.
I did not even notice that. That's funny.
But yeah, everybody... It's very funny that everybody in the story also agrees how stupid it is to make them go to school. It's like, it almost strikes me as like, Ballers being like, why did you make me fucking write this, Justin?
Without knowing whether there are more school issues, I would think this is tying up the school loose end. Oh yeah, no more. We're not going to write more school stuff, and this is the reason why, because the Freedom Fighters could be excluded.
God, I hope so.
I'm not sure of that, but...
I can't reassure you precisely. I don't remember a lot of school stuff past this, but that's not an assurance. As for this, it's basically just Amy and Tails messing around being bored in class, and frankly, I don't mind that all that much.
No, it's fine enough.
It's a little pointless, I suppose, but...
Sure.
Okay, that explains it. I thought they were, like, being rude to each other, but they're actually just bored. That makes more sense.
Yeah, they're bored and just messing around.
Yeah. It's like that SpongeBob episode. You know what's funnier than 24?
25.
Yeah. I do want to note that them having to wash off the blackboard at the end, one of the names on there is John Gray, a future very prolific artist for the comics, who is still on IDW even.
Interesting.
All these artists were like friends on fan forums back in the day, so I think that's a cute little nod. So yeah, that's it for that one.
There wasn't much to it.
No.
Not really. It is, just stuff.
Ditto for this next one. It's our final for tonight. Sonic number 115. And, Mutsuki?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't mention it before, but I guess this is the new standard. The whole, you have two characters in the corner that are the side story. At least one of the side stories.
Oh, yeah.
So that's interesting.
And we're going to get a different cover gimmick next week, so I don't know how long that stays. And on the frontispiece, genies? Are we doing a Sonic and the Secret Rings adaptation?
Damn it, I was going to say it.
Exactly. Well, it's the obvious observation to make.
Yeah,
in hindsight.
And they made it 5 years early, so...
Exactly.
But no, this is Meanie in a Bottle, written by Benny Lee and drawn by Art Mawhinney. While hanging out with Mutsuki, Sonic finds a genie in a bottle and hopes to get his wish granted. Unfortunately, genies are assholes.
Yeah,
well said.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize. I said at the beginning of the episode, oh, well, really? Eggman being gone? Yeah, right. Like, he hasn't showed up.
He hasn't.
He's still not here.
Yeah, this is an Eggman-free episode.
This is really giving me feelings of post-issue 50, where we're back to kind of just meandering around. The writers don't know what the hell they're doing.
The stories are starting to suffer again. Yeah. That's why we're having to do this. My question is, were they just taking a break, or were they trying to like get rid of Eggman again? And then they're like, well, I guess we can't do this forever.
I absolutely do not believe they were trying to get rid of Eggman again.
No, I doubt it.
Why would they do this?
What I would like to believe is that they completely botched their original plans for the issue 100 arc, because it feels like so much of that would connect from Arachnus and Kodos dying to Eggman's roboticizing humans. He can roboticize people in touch. We need to save the Robians with the sword, and then Robotropolis explodes. That all feels like it could be one 4-issue arc with a single narrative, and then we would have cooldown after that, but then we'd bring him back way faster.
Sure.
But that's not what it is, so I think they were just trying something new. There is in the first Benny Lee issue, there is an interview with him where he says something like, yeah, they wanted me to try and mix things up, and I'm a writer who actually plays the games, supposedly. I think that might be a lie.
No, he played a game way early here. People couldn't understand him at the time.
Yes, so this is a story about genies and magic consequences.
Yeah, I can't believe we're back to this story format where things just happen, weird characters pop up.
And it's even drawn by Winnie, so it really feels like an old story.
Yes.
It does.
The one difference is, I would say, it does look prettier because this is the first issue to include colorist Jason Jensen, who I think...
I was wondering why the colors looked really good.
I love his colors so much.
Yeah, no, the color work is really well done.
And
it does...
He stays on the series for a very long time, thankfully.
Nice. It does help that Art Mulwiney's art is also a nice change of pace compared to Ron Lim's Monitor Eyes.
Yeah, he's not my favorite, but I like him better than Lim.
Yeah.
But yes, there's a story here with Sonic and Mutsuki playing fetch, but Mutsuki dives too deep in the water. Which I don't know if we've established whether water does anything to Robians. It obviously doesn't here.
It doesn't here. I don't think it has. I can't think of a time
we've seen where that it hasn't. I feel like
right. I'm pretty sure we haven't.
I feel like it's been inconsistent because I seem to remember that one thing with like Espio and Valdez at the end of the Knuckles comics. He killed them using water.
That's a name I've not heard for a long time. Valdez.
That was Valdez.
I
completely forgot that they killed off a character like that. Man,
Also, that
I forgot they actually killed off a character in the first
place.
Was
introduced in that very same story, I think. But,
well, that doesn't count. Valdez was an important and long-running character.
Oh yeah, he was Blue Espio with a hat. So
we must honor Valdez. Yes.
Oh, Blue Espio with a hat.
All right. Well, anyway, Sonic follows Mutsuki down, and he finds a bottle in the water.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's the thing for the issue.
Yeah.
Right. This is not the kind of bottle that genies are in, though.
That varies.
It doesn't really matter to me.
It's usually no.
It's not an Aladdin lamp, no.
Well, they're almost always portrayed as being in oil lamps because that comes from the original Aladdin story.
Yeah, but I've definitely seen it come from just a regular bottle before.
I guess. Well, to be fair, Link's Awakening, the genie that you fight does come from a regular bottle.
Yeah.
Oh, this is an adaptation of Link's Awakening, clearly.
Ah, yes, obviously. That's why Sonic has to kill this genie.
That definitely happened.
Yeah, so this genie guy comes out. I don't think he has a name, by the way.
It's just genie.
And Sonic's like, well, hey, I freed you from the bottle. You gonna give me a wish? And he's like, no.
He's like, yeah, why the fuck would I do that? It's like, oh, genies are assholes.
I actually like that.
Well, granted, that also does track with
no, that is true.
With genies oftentimes of being pricks.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, they come in many different flavors.
They do.
Some grant wishes. Some do,
some
but they try to screw you over.
Right, and some are just asshole
out for the chaos.
Spirits.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, again, that's all something that comes from the original Aladdin myth, because there's multiple genies in that.
Yeah. Honestly, the first thing that comes to my mind is friggin'... So, he's like, no, I won't give you a wish. Instead, I'm gonna shoot you with a beam that moves your super speed to your dog.
Because
fucking asshole, God.
Sure, yeah.
I can't think of a better answer than that as to why. It's a very random kind of ironic punishment.
It is, and it's so weird.
I feel like it doesn't quite connect. I don't know.
It doesn't. It's just a fuck. We have to find a way to get rid of Sonic's super speed. dog.
It makes sense for to do something with Sonic speed, but to put it on Mutsky instead of just taking it away is very odd.
No, you got to put it on fucking Antoine.
Well, I'd like that, but
give it to Tails.
But then they'd make a joke out of taking it away again, like Lauren said. So
true. Give it to Tails. Then he can play with it for a little while.
Yeah. The ironic thing about all this is that it doesn't actually work out that bad. Like,
yeah,
we have kind of this montage of like, oh, he's so fast, it's hard to take him on walks. But he also like gets a purse snatcher, and is like, he's still fun. He's just the same dog as usual, so it's not that big a deal.
Right. And Sonic doesn't even actually seem that concerned.
Not really.
He's just like, all right, I'll live with this. Also, why does Knothole have petty crime?
I don't know what their actual system is like, so I have no idea.
I guess.
Frankly, I barely even know if they have money, so...
True, actually. That's
it was just a really nice bag.
Guess so.
Saw that and thought, fuck yeah, I want that bad boy.
But yes, so we end very quickly because they're just kind of messing around, and the genie is just there.
Which is weird,
because it looks like he didn't even leave. This looks like a similar place. And, and the genie's also an even bigger prick, and is like, do I know you?
I don't know if he really did forget them, to be honest.
No, he's just being an asshole.
I don't know. This guy's weird, but Sonic reacts quickly, and is just like, oh, get him, Mutsky.
Yeah, murder him.
Just get him, yeah.
He eats him.
he eats him.
Mutsky is consistently... just a very loyal, great dog.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And so he just keeps him in there, and Sonic's like, all right, give me 3 wishes. And he's like, fine. And
actually, yes, he is like, fine. But then Sonic is like, yeah, right. You're not gonna actually do good on that. And the genie's like, but I have to, because otherwise I lose my powers. And Sonic's like, okay, I'll believe you now, which doesn't make any sense. He could still be lying.
Fucking lying.
Yeah, it is weird, because he says that it's that if I lie, I lose my powers, which is a completely random thing. That's up there with the whole dragons can't speak falsehoods.
Oh my god. Yes.
But also, if he lied about that, then it wouldn't make a difference, would it?
Like, exactly. So that doesn't add any believability to his words.
Well, and thirdly, Sonic has 3 wishes to make. Is there anything specific that the genie can't do it from inside there? I mean, I guess he kind of shoots laser beams.
It's in return for letting him out. So
yeah, but that's the other thing, is that if he did let him out, I guess.
Oh yeah, I guess he could have said, "I'll let you out after you grant wishes."
Yeah,
but I guess he has to zap them. Yeah,
right.
And Sonic's 3 wishes are, of course, take away Mutsky's super speed, give me mine back. I feel like that could be one wish, just move it from him to me.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I could have, but then we wouldn't get the joke of the last wish being go back in your bottle.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest. This is a little sardonic of Sonic.
I'm gonna fucking keep you here, fucker.
Like, I'm sending you back to hell, I guess.
Well, so here's the thing. First of all, he deserves it. But second of all, instead of, storing it somewhere safe, like the Royal Reliquary, he just throws the bottle back into the lake. Like, yeah, that'll be fine. Literally, I saw this ending, and I'm like, someone has to follow up on that. But no, it doesn't. This is, actually a logical thing to follow up on.
Yeah, I can understand following up on it.
His 3rd wish should have just been, don't do any more bad things ever again.
That would have worked, too, yeah.
Give me all your wish-granting powers.
Yeah, so, weird little story. Another one that feels, again, like it's from years ago, but it clearly can't be. But hey... we complained about those Pender's ripoff drawings last time. This time, our 7 filler pages are actually awesome.
Real.
They are. I still mostly just skimmed over them.
Yeah,
that's fine.
You don't need to read all of it.
We're seeing a lot of this art anyway.
Yeah, it's a bunch of concept art from Spaziant of various things across the series, and Yeah, I mean, you don't need to read all of it, but a lot of it is
Right.
really cool, and it lets you
Oh
know
yeah, it
that
is cool.
he designed way more stuff than I actually knew.
Right, he clearly designs a lot of stuff, and then other artists do the work for the issues.
Yeah, I kind of like the prototype Robbo design. He looks a little less like just another Sonic.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah, he
thing.
looks a bit less like another Sonic, and he kind of gives me Rambo vibes rather than
Robin
like
Hood.
Robin Hood.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting because so little of this stuff makes it into the comic because he doesn't draw so many of the stories. So
Right.
seeing a lot of this stuff in its original context under Spazion's pen and knowing how
Hmm.
much other artists can sometimes fuck it up.
Mm,
How much
yeah.
other artists just butcher this stuff.
No, that it is cool to see Spaz getting Space Gun. It's obviously just filler,
Right.
but better than simply doing the covers like before. I do appreciate it, although it makes me wonder about things because I'm like, I think it. Did I forget when the Egg Walker showed up? It
No,
acts like it did.
it just
Unless
isn't
I'm
there. Yeah.
Mm.
Egg Walker
Um,
was adapted from.
Yeah, it was adapted from it, but I'm guessing
It
it's just
doesn't say
unused
it wasn't used. It
content.
usually says when things aren't used, though.
I'm guessing it was just unused content because we didn't see it.
Interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
it has a whole page of prototype echidna designs for something called Knuckles 20 years later that never happened. Um, Instead, we get something much worse. Uh,
Hmm.
we also get little spoilers of stuff from next week and beyond,
Oh yeah, mecha versions of the Moguls gang.
and another robot Sonic, which is interesting. Even a
Yeah.
robot Tails.
Well,
Ooh.
that could mean anything.
I
Um,
mean,
Yeah, but they have spoiler written on them, so they mean something.
I'm just
Yes.
saying those could be from a parallel universe. They could just be badniks. Who
that's
knows?
Yeah,
true.
we don't know.
The thing that really gets me actually is on the previous page, the unused anime inspired designs, which are just whack.
The
Uh,
SWAT bots, or maybe the Snively.
the
The
sniveling is what
Snively.
really gets me.
That's
That is a
Snively.
wild
Goddamn
design.
wild.
He's like, yeah. I mean, if you said that this was his roboticized self, that would almost be something, but it's not.
Sure.
He
No,
has a
he's just.
ponytail.
He does.
How does that work?
I don't know, but I wish we got this.
Yeah.
I wish that more people just drew like Spaziant in general. Yeah,
True.
it's very, very, very weird, but interesting to speculate on.
Yeah.
True.
Also, these comics are so old that they still refer to Gatchaman as Battle of the Planets
Huh.
because they have the Gatchaman ripoff characters in there. Anyway, so we have one more story here.
I repeat thing about no, I don't like Knuckles stories.
Yeah.
Ultimate Power Part 2. Pender's writing. Dawn Best sort of drawing, but at this point, Pender's is overwriting so much of her art that it just looks like his for most of it.
Hmm.
And the story here is that Mammoth Mogul takes Dimitri hostage.
Oh, is that what he does? I
Sort
didn't know
of.
that.
He shows up in his containment hotel hospital something room. And
Oh
then
shoot, you're right. That's at the very end they reveal it. I forgot about that.
Mm.
Yeah. He's dressed like your hip grandpa now. I don't know what's up with the visor and the new jacket.
I like this design, I'm gonna be honest.
It's he's just trying to blend in.
Yeah. I do
You
think that
know, blend
uh,
in.
there's a decent parallel here because Mogul powered up using Enerjack, but then Chaos powered up using Mogul. So these are just two emaciated grandpas growling at each other.
No, I actually do kind of like this.
Yeah.
When Mogul showed up, I was like, why isn't he just like eviscerating everyone? And oh no, it's because he lost his powers. Okay,
Right.
that's good.
He's just a mammoth right now.
I am so sick and tired of overpowered god characters.
Right.
It is refreshing to see the overpowered gods, in particular, being reduced to this.
Right.
And they're actually having to be,
Right.
sneaky again. He's just having to take a cab. That's the only reason Harry is dragged into this. Which I mean, hey, listen, the guy gets paid, so that's good. But yeah, and Dimitri especially, he is just so depressed. It's such a transformation. Because Mogul walks in all high and mighty despite having lost his powers, and he's like, huh, are you curious, despite the fact that I've lost my powers, how I managed to get my way in here? And Dimitri's just like, something like that. Like, he's just got no energy for his normal outraged reactions.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of believe he's dying because he can't even move at this point.
Right. He does
yeah.
kind of come off as dying now.
Yeah. Of course, we don't get to know why Mogul's here just yet. Instead, we get these two insert pages of Gruckles and friends just kind of hanging out. I'm trying I'm looking at their dialogue and I'm like, are they saying anything that's actually significant?
And
it's mostly just Gruckles being like, yeah, I'm a god now.
Yeah, this really just feels like God came down from heaven to hang out with his homies.
And these pages also piss me off because I can so clearly see where Don tried to do something like dynamic with the art, but then I can see that Penrose is like, no, you need to give them the knobbly knees, the weird eyes, the faces. Like Mighty on the second page, second panel, has that smug prick expression that you can only get from Penrose, and I hate it. I want to see what this looked like when she first penciled it.
I would be interested in seeing that.
This art was a victim, damn it.
True, though.
Yeah.
Anyway, so none of that matters. Unless either of you have something to say about it.
No, not really.
No, it's just... Gruckles has been chill for a while. Ever since joining the Dark Legion, things have only been good for him.
So what you're saying is that joining the Dark Legion was a good idea.
For Gruckles,
I should join
100%.
an extremist movement. That'll improve my life so much.
Well, as soon as you join it, it will stop being an extremist movement. At least overtly.
Damn, alright.
Except for certain people within the shadows transition to Lianda and her goons on the ship. This interaction is interesting. So we get some new characters. I'm not going to try to keep track of them really unless they become important later. It's possible.
I'm not sure Gaia exists outside this page.
Okay, well, all the better then. So she's being treacherous. What a surprise. Now, I was looking carefully at the way these things are worded, though, because on the surface, they're like, oh, well, what's the status of the great Dimitri? And she's just like, nothing favorable at the moment, but there's still hope. Now, that could be, he's dying. But on the end, like, he might actually just be dead. But on the other hand, it could be, he's dying, but he has a plan, and so he might actually recover. But there's still hope that I could screw this up, and he would die after all. And they could be mockingly calling him the Great Dimitri. So, that doesn't take it off the table. Or the other possibility, of course, is that she's going to screw it up maybe by accident, because she doesn't trust him. But we'll see. There's lots of different ways this can go.
I feel like Guy Na is probably calling him Great Dimitri genuinely, because I bet if Lian Da is planning on any sort of taking over the Legion against his approval, she probably hasn't told anybody else yet.
Sure.
That probably is true, yeah.
I think if Kragok were still here, she would have told him since he was her brother, and
right.
I think there's some mention of the fact that they plotted to murder their dad together as well. Luger.
Yeah.
I vaguely remembered something like that.
They implied it.
But he's not. Also, given that we had Kragok die not that long ago, you'd think that they would have mentioned that to her brother or his sister, but no, she doesn't care.
I can see that, honestly, though.
I can understand that, knowing characters. Anyway.
So, yeah, the Chaotix head together and they meet up with the Brotherhood, who are doing their usual shit in the dark this time. I'm not sure why, but...
Makes them feel sneakier.
Exactly.
But the issue ends with them getting a video call from Mogul, who, has Dimitri held hostage.
So here's the thing, is Locke is like, we received a transmission from someone who calls himself Mammoth Mogul. I guess he's just saying he doesn't recognize Mogul with the shades, and so he doesn't believe that it's Mogul. Or does he just not know who Mogul is, which is literally impossible?
Bad writing.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird line.
Yeah, no, I don't get it.
There's no way that Locke wouldn't have known that Mogul is the one who stole Dimitri's power and made him not Enerjack anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
And Mogul was on Angel Island. Knuckles fought him with the Chaotix and with Sonic, because he forced them all into that Battle Royale comic.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
And anyway, Mogul wants Gruckles here, I assume, to steal his energy in the exact same way.
Oh yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, I guess that is his end game. That would make sense. I don't know how he knows that he would care about Dimitri. Maybe interrogated him. Maybe he's playing this by ear.
Maybe
we'll see how it all unfolds.
Maybe he got some info from Harry the cab driver. He's like, oh, mate, you hear about that reunification project? They've got the Guardian working with the dog. Is Harry British? Why am I assuming that he's British?
I thought you were doing a shitty Aussie.
Oh, my accents are not good.
No, they're not.
All right, well, I'll cut this episode off before I try to do anything more. I'll save you guys the pain. That is going to be it for tonight. Really mediocre comics this week. I still like Antoine getting the drop on Evil Sonic, but I definitely see Lauren's complaints about that issue. And,
I think we can agree that the idea of Evil Sonic just going around committing petty crimes is funny.
Oh yeah, no, totally. It's very on brand. Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, that has some good parts in that issue for sure.
Truly awful. 113, and
but like that's
amazingly so.
Yeah.
Listen, that's a milestone because that is the last issue like that I think is in this series, which doesn't mean there aren't more bad looking issues. Just nothing like that. I don't think.
The last just all around terrible. Honestly, let me think about this. Yeah, no, you say the last, but I think that's like the peak. Like, I can't think of another issue that's just unequivocally, objectively terrible the whole way through. Like, literally, just the cover is good. Like,
right.
At least the Mogul special that had like Knuckles stuff in it, didn't it? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it had something to it.
Sure.
Like, yeah, no. So I'm not surprised that nothing reaches that again.
Oh, you mean the Nogist comic that had the Sin City parody?
Oh, well, that kind of looked cool, actually.
It looked
that's
interesting.
What I'm saying is that one was not as bad.
Yeah.
But yes, that is where we are going to be done for tonight. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you guys for being here. If you like this video, please feel free to share, like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback or criticism, you can reach us at the link tree in the description. Any of those links there. I'm slurring my speech a bit. I don't know what's up with that. But another reason to have the video end here. So,
damn, Devin's drunk.
Oh, man. I hope you all have a great week. Hey, Homer's big Barney. I can't do Matt's Barney impression. I'm really bad at it. Again, I need to stop trying to do accents or impressions.
All right, bye, guys.
I want you to keep going, but good night,
everybody.
Everyone.
Hope you have a great rest of your week. Hope you have a great night, and take care.